Okay. I know it's early. I'm tired too. Let's try that again. Good morning, church.
Good morning.
There it is. All right. Good morning at home. I was talking this morning. I always assume you're at home. I don't know where you are. You could be streaming from a Starbucks. But good morning. You may notice that Erin is not here. I am Erin today. Erin is feeling a little... Oh, thank you. I like my Erin hat. She makes it easy to wear. She's feeling a little under the weather with a stomach thing, so we send her all of our love. And we're getting into solstice time. I myself lean more pagan, so I'm very excited about this. And solstice, winter solstice, Yule, is all about bringing that light back in, right? We get that light back. We are now exiting that time of fallow, and we're moving into that space. So we're going to sing a song to start with called I Am the Light, call and response. Yeah, go ahead and sing as you feel you catch it. Here we go. I am the light.
I am the light.
I am the light. in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. I see the joy, I see the joy, I see the joy, I see the joy in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. This is the place, this is the place. Oh, this is the time, this is the time. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I feel the love, I feel the love, I feel the love, I feel the love in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. I feel the love, I feel the love, I feel the love, I feel the love in this world, in this world, in this world, in this world. This is the place, this is the place, this is the time, this is the time. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's pray.
And so we take a moment to turn our attention within as we know the truth of our opening statement, which is, there is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence.
God the good. Yep. Sometimes it's hard to know what to say after prayer, so we're just going to go with whatever the spirits lead us. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Praise God. Praise God. Right place. Right place. Right time. Right time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. I am light. I am the light. I am light. I am a light in this world. In this world. In this world. In this world. I am light. I am a light. I am light. I am a light in this world. In this world. In this world. In this world. This is the place. This is the place. This is the time. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This is the place. This is the place. This is the place. This is the time. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine.
All right. Good morning. And welcome to Seattle Unity, both in the room and online. It's wonderful to see you all this morning. So a few announcements. One is if you have a prayer request, please type it into the chat box. And if you're in the room, fill out a prayer request over there, put it in the box. We'll collect them and bless people at the end of the service. Also, Christmas Eve is Friday night. It's coming up fast, and so we are having a in-person candle lighting service here at Metropolis at 7 p.m., so we hope to see you there. And the sock drive is continuing, and we are only $300 short of our goal. So if you would like to contribute to the sock drive, you can put it in the box with outreach on it and or text to give, but make sure you write outreach on it so that we know that it's going to the sock drive, and we are grateful for your generosity. Next Sunday is our burning bowl, so make sure you come here for that service. And if you're watching from home, make sure you have your stuff ready for burning. And then finally, we're having an online fellowship on Zoom for those of you who are at home, so be sure to stay tuned for that as well. So, that said, us in the house, let's all stand and greet one another. At home, please watch our announcements.
if you could find your seats again, we'd be grateful. Hard to stop giving our love, especially holidays.
Fabulous. So we're going to go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and go into it. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and sing Feliz Navidad, Spanish song. A lot of you probably know this already. But for those of you who don't, because we always welcome the new people, I hope that there's somebody for whom this is their first time singing, because gosh, that's a wonderful experience. We're just going to run through the lyrics. So, Feliz Navidad. Let's try that again.
Sorry.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Great. And then you repeat it. Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Wonderful. Prospero año.
Prospero año
Y felicidad.
y felicidad.
Fabulous. There's an English component to it as well. And Jen Bowles, toss that to you, is going to lead us through that. And you'll totally know when she gets to the English bit. Yep.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Sing with me. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Let's try some English. Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Do that again. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz, Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. So to stand up. Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Come and dance with us. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Dance break. Woo. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
Jess.
Please be seated. You're fabulous.
Paul Gammon's going to come up and read us a really wonderful poem.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Paul Gammon, and I'm going to read to you today a poem by Paul Passman called A COVID Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, but COVID was here. So we all had to stay extra cautious this year. Our masks were all hung by the chimney with care. In case Santa forgot his, we left him a spare. With COVID, we couldn't leave cookies or cake, so we left Santa hand sanitizer to take. The children were sleeping, the brave little tots, and Mom in her kerchief and me in my cap had just settled in for a long winter's nap. We tossed and we turned all night in our beds as visions of variants danced in our heads. Gamma and Delta, and now Omicron. These COVID mutations go on and on and on. I thought to myself, if this doesn't get better, I'll soon be familiar with every Greek letter. And just as I started to drift off and doze, a clatter of noise from the front lawn arose. I leapt from my bed and ran straight down the stair. I opened the door, and an old gent stood there. His N95 made him look pretty weird, but I knew who he was by his red suit and beard. I kept 6 feet back, but blurted out quick, "What are you doing here, jolly St. Nick?" Then I said, "Where's your presents, your reindeer and sleigh? Don't you know that tomorrow will be Christmas Day?" He said he'd been stuck at the North Pole alone. All his white-collar elves had been working from home. Those left in the toy shop had little to do with supply chain disruptions. They could make nothing new. And as for the reindeer, they had all gone away. None of them left to pull in his sleigh. Then the old twinkle returned to his eyes, and he said that he brought me a Christmas surprise. When I unwrapped the box and opened it wide, starlight and rainbows streamed out from inside. Some letters whirled round and flew up to the sky, and they formed out a word 40 feet high. Their first was an H, then an O, then a P. And I saw it spelled hope when it ended with E. "Christmas magic," said Santa as he smiled through his beard, and suddenly all of the reindeer appeared. He jumped in his sleigh, and he waved me goodbye, and he soared over the rooftops and into the sky. I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Get your vaccines, my friends. Merry Christmas." Good night. Then I went back to sleep and had a sweet Christmas dream of a world when we'd finished with COVID-19.
Thank you, Paul. I think we all needed that. So we're heading towards our 3-minute meditation period, and it's a good time to set aside all those distractions. Put your phone on silent or turn it off. Set things aside. We're going to begin our quiet time with a solstice chant by Claudia Schmidt. It is a call response, and I'm going to sing a line, and then you'll repeat it. The lyrics can be a little tricky, so I'm going to say them to you first so that once you know them, they're fine, right? Beautiful solstice piece. We are awake, awake in the night. We turn the wheel to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We call the dawn to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We sing to the sun to bring in the light. So I'll sing a line and then you can repeat it back to me. We are awake, awake in the light. We turn the wheel to bring in the light. Sing that back with me. We are awake. Awake in the night, we sing to the sun to bring in the light. So sing that with me. We are awake, awake in the night. We sing to the sun to bring in the light. Beautiful. We're going to do all three again. We are awake, awake in the light. We turn to the wheel to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We turn the wheel to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We call the dawn to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We call the dawn to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We sing to the sun to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We sing to the sun to bring in the light. We are awake, awake in the night. We turn the wheel to bring in the light.
star burns in the darkness, shines with the promise, Emmanuel. One child born in the stillness, living within us, Emmanuel. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let there be peace. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let it start in me. One voice speaks for the voiceless, hope for the hopeless, Emmanuel. One love brings us together, now and forever, Emmanuel. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let there be peace. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let it start in me. Do not be afraid, His love is strong enough to raise us. Nothing stands in the way, His love is strong enough to save us. Do not be afraid, His love is strong enough to raise us. Nothing stands in our way, His love is strong enough to lead us. Glory, glory. Let there be peace, let there be peace. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let it start in me. Singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let there be peace. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let it start in me. Let there be peace, let it start in me.
Thank you, Chris. That was wonderful. And I want to do a shout out to Olivia, who found out at 6:30 this morning that she was going to be the lead today. Good job. So last week we were looking at some of the ways that we can cultivate a deeper meaning of Christmas that goes beyond just the gifts and the tree and the food and all the celebrations that go along with it. Because the core of Christmas is really recognizing that the Christmas story is a guidebook to our soul's unfoldment. And just a little review from last week, it begins by being open to the unexpected in life, just as Mary was when she was visited by the angel Gabriel. And knowing that when we have an inner stirring, that there's something more, that maybe in the beginning we need to keep it close to our hearts and keep it quiet and not share it all over until we feel like it's fully grounded, and perhaps find that one person, as Mary found Elizabeth, to share her good news with. So I'd like to pick up the story where we left it off last week, and that is to join the wise men on their journey. We know that they followed the star from the east, and because they knew about the prophecies of the coming Messiah. And on the way, they ran into Herod, right? And Herod says to them, I'm looking for the Christ child as well, and I want to worship him, so let me know when you find him. So, of course, we know that Herod wasn't seeking to worship the Christ child and said he wanted to get rid of him because he heard that this king was going to be born, and, of course, it threatened his power. And not surprisingly, Herod metaphysically represents the ego within us. In Matthew chapter 2, when they saw the star, they were overjoyed. And on coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And, having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. So, metaphysically, the wise men represent our own inner wisdom. It is that part of us that seeks not just intellectual knowledge, but intuitive knowledge as well, and bringing the head and the heart together. It's that part of us that listens to our guidance and takes action, right? Because they followed the star. They didn't sit around and talk about it. They didn't say, hey, you know, there's this star and I hear this is happening. You know, they could have sat home and talked about it, but instead they left their homes and they set off on this journey. And so, of course, they ran into Herod. And just when we start to follow our inner star and our inner guidance and our inner wisdom, chances are we too will run into Herod. We will run into the ego that says, yeah, I've got a lot of reasons why you shouldn't take this trip. I got a lot of reasons why you shouldn't follow your dreams. So don't let Herod stop you. Whatever dream you have, whatever goal you have, whatever is stirring in you, do not let Herod stop you. Fred Clausen said, if we give in to an ego-driven existence, we can create a huge chasm between our spiritual oneness and the co-creative spirit that we share with Spirit. So we're called here to be co-creators, right? And to follow that star. And I believe that the star symbolizes that true north for each one of us metaphysically. It's that calling, it's that thing that always brings you joy. You know, whether it's singing or cooking or being with your kids or whatever that is, right? There's something that each one of us keeps coming back to that is our true north. It's that part of us that says yes, that part of us that is lifted up. Bill George said, your true north is the internal compass that guides you successfully through life. It is your orienting point, your fixed point in a spinning world that helps you to stay on track. What in your life has been a consistent theme that continually runs through your life? What is that for you? What is that thread? Because when you follow your true north, your star, then it leads you to who you are and who you're called to be and to that soul's full expression of that. And the thing is, you know, we can have all the wisdom in the world, but if we don't put it into action, it just stays in our head. So what actions do we need to take? Steven Spielberg has a just redone West Side Story. And I think his life story is so interesting because he's a great example of someone who followed his true north, right? Like from the time he was a kid, he was making 8mm movies. And he used to film his train sets, and they'd crash and stuff, and then he'd like film these train disasters, I guess. Apparently he charged his friends to see these films. So in 1965, he was visiting Universal Studios. He's young. And he met a man named Chuck Silvers, who was an executive in the editorial department. And Silvers liked him. And he said, you know, why don't you come back sometime? So the very next day, Spielberg shows up. Now, of course, you could never get away with this stuff today, right? But he dressed in a dark suit, and he was carrying his dad's briefcase. And the only thing he had in his dad's briefcase was a sandwich and a candy bar. And as he goes up to the guard at the gate, he just sort of waves at him, and the guard just waves back, and he was in. He said, for the entire summer, I dressed in my suit, and I hung out with the directors and the writers, and the only person who knew who he really was Silvers, the guy who initially invited him to come back. And he said, you know, I even found an office that wasn't being used, and I became a squatter. He said, I bought some plastic tiles, and I put my name in the building directory. Steven Spielberg, room 23C. And so the rest is history. We know the rest of the story. But we see that his true north was filmmaking, and he followed his star by taking action, a little boldly, right? So what action do you need to take in your life that maybe you haven't done in a while to follow that true north? So this Tuesday is the solstice. Yay. I think it's darker in Seattle than it is in other parts of the world. That could be just me, but it's so dark. The word literally means sun set still. So there's this moment of stillness that's happening in the world, right? It's that space between the breaths. It's that moment of turning and shifting and moving back toward the light. Margaret Atwood, the author, said that this is the solstice, the still point of the sun, its cusp and midnight, the year's threshold and unlocking, where the past lets go and becomes the future, the place of caught breath. So we're in that in-between space when we're at the solstice point. So I invite you, we're going to have a short meditation at the end of the talk, but this Tuesday especially, take advantage of this time to be quiet and to listen to the inner voice that is leading you home. Because this is a great opportunity to touch the font of wisdom that dwells within you. And this leads us to this month's theme. You know, the theme starts on the 20th, and that is the alchemy of wisdom. And I think it's perfect to be in the alchemy of wisdom right now, because it takes the lead of ignorance and it transforms it into a sage-like knowing. Now, I've picked this because it's Capricorn, and Capricorns are wise, and there's a lot of gravitas and responsibility that goes along with this part of the season. So what is wisdom? In James 3, but the wisdom that comes from heaven is first pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Ecclesiastes 9, the quiet words of the wise are to be heeded more than the shouts of a ruler of fools. The wise one or sage is a truth seeker and someone who is always learning. The sage is a mentor, an advisor, a teacher, a detective, the elder, the wise woman, the wise man. And solstice is a perfect time to nurture the inner sage, because the sage is comfortable with solitude and is self-reflective. A sage can cut through and see what's really going on, right? To cut through the BS, like I see the patterns, I see what's happening. A sage is patient and knows that it takes time for things to unfold. And we all have access to this inner sage and wisdom. So let's call that in this month. Let's call this in with the alchemy of wisdom. So one question is, how do we gain wisdom? Well, Monica Ardelt said that in order to have wisdom, you need a lot of experience, which is why getting older, there's more experiences in life to draw on. But just because you're older doesn't mean that you actually got the wisdom, right? The key is learning from experiences, not just having experiences. Because the truth is, the older we are, the longer we live, the more experiences we have. But if we don't learn from those experiences, then where is the wisdom that we have gained? And an example is you can travel the world, right? You can travel around. And if you have an open mind, when you travel with a wide open mind, you're experiencing all different kinds of things. Or you can travel with a closed mind, which reinforces prejudices, right? So it's all in our perspective. It's all how we move through this. So it's not that wise people know more. It's that they know things at a deeper level. Wise people grow from having a crisis. Monica Ardelt went on to say that instead of producing post-traumatic stress disorder, let a crisis produce post-traumatic growth, which refers to positive psychological change experienced as a result of adversity and other challenges in order to rise to a higher level of functioning. So, ever happened to you? I mean, we've all had trauma, we've all had crisis in our lives, right? And some of us do have post-traumatic stress disorder. But have you ever had a traumatic experience or a crisis and you learned from it and you grew and you gained wisdom? A deeper sense of empathy, perhaps. A deeper sense of an understanding of love and of life. One of the images that has always stayed in my mind is that of a shell, a seed in a shell breaking so that the plant could grow. And some saying about that sometimes we need to have a breaking in order to grow, or a breaking in order to have the heart be open. And I know that in my life, that in those experiences when I have lost or when things have been traumatic is that after absorbing them, right, it's the wisdom, it's to sit with it, I have learned something that I didn't know before, and I feel like I have learned to love on a deeper level than what I had learned before. Anybody else? Yeah. So the more that we are present to and authentic with the challenges in life, the better we are at gaining wisdom. And the sage would seek the truth in these experiences and look for the higher purpose and pattern. So our call this month, till January 20th, when we start our new theme for the year, is to deepen our wisdom, is to call forth the archetype of the inner sage, and knowing that it isn't just having experiences that give us the wisdom, but it's the learning from these experiences. So we know that Christmas is more than gifts. It's more than the tree and the lights and the meals and the family and the friends and the loneliness, right? And the sadness that sometimes goes with this season. But it's about discovering the core of Christmas, of looking at the different elements and saying, okay, so how is this the unfoldment of my soul? Is there a stirring in me? Is there a calling to follow my inner star, to follow that true north? Eric Butterworth said that Christmas has little magic in it when we are just looking backward to worship a child in the manger. Magic is found by looking forward to that day when our own Christ child may unfold in our lives, a time to look inward to its presence right now. So on Friday, we will be celebrating this light with our candle lighting service. We're celebrating that birth of the Christ light that is within us. So I invite you to join us for that. It's going to be a wonderful experience. And finally, again, Tuesday is the solstice. And I think that, we get busy. What time is it? It's 7:59 p.m. or a.m.? All right, 7:59 a.m., everybody. Set your clocks and just stop for a moment, even if it's only a minute. But in case you forget, let's take a moment now to call that in. So I invite you to prepare yourself for a moment of silence and whatever works for you. That we take a moment to be present to this event because there is a shift that happens with the solstice. And just as there is a shift as we turn back toward the light, may there be a shift within us. So what is the shift that needs to take place in you? Maybe it's just a slight turn of the head. Maybe it's just a slight movement in a different direction. Hold that for a second. The solstice means sun set still. The solstice is the pause between your breath. So I invite you to breathe with me for a moment. Just breathe in and then hold the breath and exhale. And then breathing in and hold the pause and exhale, and do it on your own. Stopping to pause in the middle. Sun set still. Soul stand still. And so we turn toward the light. We take that gentle shift, knowing that the light is reborn in us, and that the birth of Christ is reborn in me. May we behold with new eyes the miracle of divine life that is present in every moment. Sun set still. And it is for this awareness and in the name and through the power of the living Spirit of truth that we do say thank you and amen.
So initially, in this time slot, or in this song slot, we were going to do the song "The Christians and the Pagans," which is a great song. And there are so many words in that song, very few of which I actually know. And so Aaron texted me and was like, you can do anything that fits the theme, so we're going to do, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. We're not. We're not. We'll find it in your hymnals. No, we're gonna do a version of the Christmas song that my jazz trio does frequently. And I know that this is typically like a really commercial song. Like I'm used to hearing it in the radio at stores and stuff. But as someone who tends to find the divine and connection in very small things and very mundane things, like the smell of rain and the view of snow and like the enjoyment I see of children looking at, light up reindeer and stuff like that. I feel like this song actually really does encompass that solstice feel and that solstice power and that like stepping out of the dark and into the light and really into the being present in all those like joyous small moments that this season provides us. So
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks wrapped up from head to toe. Everybody knows some turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Little ones with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight, because they always do. You know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every little child is gonna smile to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Give me something, David.
So I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy belated Hanukkah, Blessed Solstice, Merry Christmas.
So, Phil, I realized that I forgot the building prayer at the beginning of the service. I wonder if we could add it at the end of the offering. That'll work. Thank you. All right. So now it comes time to share our tithes and our love offerings, and there's a number of ways to give. If you're in the room, you can put your gift in the prayer box. If you're online, we'd appreciate it if you would use the text to give. The number is on the screen. However you give, know that we are grateful for your generosity. So let's say together, I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. And so we do dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the will, the work, and the way of the living Spirit of truth. And so now I'd like for us to share our building prayer, which we were supposed to do at the beginning of the service. We are engaged in a creative process that blesses future generations. Seattle Unity's building project is unfolding with grace and ease in a timely manner. It is on schedule, on budget, and is divinely guided. The perfect people are in the right leadership positions to shepherd this process. The board of trustees, project team, and the congregation are helpful, loving, generous, supportive, and centered in spirit. We use this process as a path to awakening. Can I get an amen? It's happening, folks. It's not just a dream. Okay, so let's take a moment to bless those who have requested prayer, and I invite you to, whether you move to your heart, the top of your head, whatever you do, I'd like us to begin with baby Lowell Morin, who was just born yesterday. And he is having trouble breathing, so I invite you just to hold him and see his lungs filled with the life of spirit. And we hold his family, his parents, his grandparents, all in this light as they support this new life. We hold and we bless Mark and Penny, Evelyn and Carolyn. We hold and we bless Aaron and Gail, Sabrina and Donna and family. Satanya, Nina, Kim and Sue, Richard and Pamela, and all those who are suffering and needing help this time of year, all those who are dealing with COVID or are struggling financially or spiritually. We know that the Spirit of God goes before each one. And we say to each one, may you be free from danger. May you have mental happiness. May you have physical happiness. And may you have ease of well-being. For the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
That is the truth. So we're going to close with a song, We Let the Love Wash Over Us. It's a Ricky Byers song. So please stand as you are able. You may notice the congregant singers are going to do this motion with wash over. I'm not going, bass is a two-handed thing, so I won't be joining you with that. I also forgot to thank someone at the top of the service, a groups of someone's. The Christmas elves have been here again, and it's getting like more and more beautiful and festive and amazing every Sunday, and I love it. Every time there's a cast off, I take it and it goes home with me, and it's perfect. So they might still be accepting. Is there one more elf Sunday, or are we at our elf? I think we're at our elf. So thank you to all the elves who have helped with this. It's just been joyous to see.